The Jacobs Ladder Show, the international internet broadcast online interview talk radio show, exploring ladders of success with Carolyn and Stephen Jacobs. Broadcast live from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, every Tuesday from 1 to 3 p.m., featuring one guest per hour. Each guest tells us their life story with a one-on-one interview with either Carolyn or Stephen Jacobs. Featured guests include singers, dancers, musicians, entertainers, and entrepreneurs on their ladders of success. Now, here's Carolyn and Stephen Jacobs.
This is Carolyn Jacobs with the Jacobs Ladder Show, where we are live every Tuesday from 1 to 3 p.m. We feature one guest per hour on their ladder of success. Stephen has 1 hour, I have the other. But I want to give a thank you out to David Perico. That beautiful Jacobs Ladder Show theme music is a jazz original composition entitled Go With It by jazz composer, arranger, and trumpeter David Perico and his Pop Evolution Orchestra. Thank you, David Perico. Stephen, who do you have today on their Ladder of Success interview?
I have the international legend, Marty Allen, who is an American stand-up comedian, actor, World War II veteran, and now that he hasn't done enough in his life, he's now become an author, and his book, which I have read, which is right here, is Hello, Dere with Marty Allen. It's his autobiography. Marty, welcome back to the show. What
Hello,
a terrific book.
Thank you, Stephen.
So we're going to start off with, you were born, where were you born?
When?
Where?
Well, I remember I was in a manger. And when was I born?
Yeah.
March 23rd, 1922.
Okay, but where were you born?
Where? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I'm a Steeler fan. No, I grew up in Pittsburgh. Right. It's a great city, really great city. Besides seeing the three rivers, it was wonderful. My high school, and then my early days of being a local comedian, and I have a great affection for the city.
So, when did you first start comicking or dancing or whatever you did?
Well, I think in high school.
High school?
I was the guy,
You were the class clown.
doing all kind of crazy things in the class, and the teacher says,
Right.
go outside and do that.
Right.
Anyhow, I try to make everybody laugh, and I always had that feel for comedy.
Right.
And the most serious moments in the class, I'd come up with some crazy suggestion, and everybody start laughing. The teacher, yes, and that's how I more or less started out.
In, huh?
And then I was a dancer, and at that time I became a top jitterbug dancer, and became a jitterbug champion dancing.
And that was the dance of the day, right?
Yeah, it was the dance of the day, and I would win all kind of dance contests. And when I got out of high school, I was going to take journalism because I write a lot, and I used to write novellas and little stories.
Right.
And that was and then I had a great idea to be a reporter for a newspaper because I looked great in a trench coat. And but I more or less went off to the side of comedy, and I'd play all kind of joints, beer taverns and little clubs, and just building up, and more or less became the local comic, the guy everybody said, you see Marty. I took the name Marty Allen, M.A., because I wanted it to be very significant of my personal comedian who I adored. Can you imagine who it would be at that time?
I can't. I don't know. I can't.
Allen's Alley.
Oh, Allen's Alley. Oh, of course. Oh, of course, the man who never typed in capital letters.
Yeah, that's it. And I always thought he was so funny, Fred.
Yeah. Fred Allen, right.
And I took the initial, Allen.
Sure.
And made it Marty Allen because I had a great respect for him as a comedian. And I thought he was brilliant at that time, and I used to listen to him like every time he was on the air.
Right, he started his career out on radio, but everybody listened to him.
Yeah, Allen's Alley.
Allen's Alley, right?
And his wife Portland.
Right.
And then like I said, Stephen, I was that kind of a guy, and locally I became like a very top-notch comedian. I developed, and then the war came, and I wanted.
Before we jump off to the war there, because I know about that. But how old were you when you had your first, I guess, paying job?
My first paying
gig.
I don't know exactly how old, but you got to hear. This is a phenomenal story. I went to an agent. They said you have to have an agent.
Right.
So I go, and he's sitting there with a cigar in his mouth and his feet up on the desk. He says, "What is it?" I says, "I'm a comedian. I just came in from Hollywood, California, and I wanted to go to work." And he says, "Well, there is a must work. But if you can go out and find me a place for you to be, I'll book you." So I'm thinking, is that how they do it? I don't know. So I went around all these joints, and I found a beer joint. And I went over to the guy and says, "Use any entertainment?" He says, "Like what?" I says, "I'm a comedian. I'd like to play in your club." And he said, "Yeah, I'll use you Saturday night, $12.50. I says, "I'll take it." I went back to the agent and told him the cigar fell out of his mouth. And this is the best part. He took his commission.
He took his 10%.
Honest and good. He never forgot. And I remember giving him the commission. And that's how it all began. That's the beginning.
That was the beginning.
And then I went into the service.
Yeah, now you just go in the service. This was World War II, and
World War II.
90% of the country.
At the beginning, I went in, and the sergeant says, "What do you do in your local life?" I said, "I'm a comedian." He says, "That's all we need in this organization." But for a while, I worked under it was Captain John Toland, Toland. Wait till you hear this. And I went to work for him in the entertainment part, and we were in St. Petersburg for basic training, and I would do all kinds of shows for him, and it was very successful. And then they took me out of entertainment and says, "We need you for more personal, the best thing, it's a surprise." "What is it?" "You're in the Air Force."
Well.
And next thing I know, I'm in the 15th Air Force, 484th Bomb Group, and we went to Italy. We were stationed in a little town called Foggia, Italy, and it was the B-24s. That's the heavy bomber.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
You would know that.
I remember those.
And we were the ones that bombed the Palesti oil fields in Romania, and we received a great citation for blowing them all apart. And that's where I was, stationed in Italy in the B-24s Air Force.
So you decided not to make the Air Force a career, obviously.
No. Well,
So you got out of the service.
got out of the service, went back to Pittsburgh, my hometown, and started my career all over. And by this time, Marty Allen was like the local hotshot comic. And then one day the agent said to me, I got you a great job. I says, what is it? You're going to be with a girl singer at this club. I said, and I says, do I know her? He says, maybe. I said, what's her name? He said, Sarah Vaughan.
Oh, my.
I almost fainted. I said, Sarah Vaughan. Well, I was at this time, Stephen, during this period in the entertainment world, all the singers were the headliners, like Joe Stafford, Patti Page, Tony Bennett, Nat King Cole, all of them.
Right.
And they would use a comedian, and the comedian would do 20 or 25 minutes, get off, and then the headliner.
Opening acts, right?
So she took a liking to me, and next thing I know, she said, I made a phone call for you with a friend of mine. I said, who? She said, Nat Cole.
Nat King Cole.
I can't believe it. And the next thing I know, I'm the opening act for Nat King Cole, and that's how it all began.
Wow.
And then...
now, did you stay? Were you in Philadelphia, or what did you...
No, then I went on tour, and then I went to the Sands here in Vegas.
With Nat King Cole, right?
With Nat King Cole. The production singer was a young, handsome singer by the name of Steve Rossi.
Yes.
He was, when the girls came out,
Right.
It was Steve who sang the love song, and the girls would dance. And one day he said to Nat, I'm tired of being a production singer. Shows you how smart he was. And he says, I'd like to do something different. And Nat says, well, the comedy team, Martin and Lewis, was a hot team. He says, I have a comedian, and you'd be a great straight man to him if the two of you'd get together. Now, I'm in Chicago with Edie Gourmet at the famous Chez Paris. Steve Rossi calls me and says, would you be interested in doing a comedy act? And I'm making a couple bucks. I says, I'm thinking to myself, why would I want to be part of a team? I don't know. I says, I'm really not into thinking along those ways. He says, well, Nat suggested it. Oh, so I said, I'll tell you what, I figure I'll get him away. Fly into Chicago, and we'll talk about it.
See how serious he was.
And
right?
he got the money. He flew to Chicago. I see this real handsome guy, and then I heard him sing. And he says to me, I think we could be very good together. So I wrote some stuff. I says, all right, we'll give it a shot. So I booked us in a couple joints. And Stephen, right at the beginning, the audience reaction, if they, in your ear, you says, wow.
They like you.
They liked it. So I said, maybe it's good. So we kept doing about 10 or 12, about 15 dates. Then I called Nat and I said, we're ready. And he had us booked, with Patti Page, with Joe Stafford. And then he took us and we went on tour with Nat. And that was, then Allen and Rossi started to move. Next thing I know, they said, you're ready for headline,
Be a headliner, right?
Yeah, the headliner, and we scored heavy.
So you moved over that line from opening act to headliner.
Yes, Stephen. We moved over. Next thing I know, Allen and Rossi is a powerhouse act. And we end up at the Copacabana in New York. And if you play the Copacabana,
You've arrived.
It's like being you're in.
You arrived, yeah. That was
we
the deal.
scored heavily, and then we started doing all the shows. And then Ed Sullivan picked us up. And everybody says, how many Ed Sullivan shows did you do? I said, more than Ed Sullivan. And next thing I know, he put us on with the Beatles.
Yeah, that's right. You
That
guys
was boom.
Yeah, you
1964.
That wasn't a bad booking to be on
It
the same
wasn't
time. Same
And
time
then
as the Beatles.
As I recall, and I think I put it in the book, the Beatles didn't know who we were. All they saw was this crazy-looking guy with wild hair.
Right.
And I go back, and John Lennon is getting ready to go on. And I walk over. I said, John? He said, yes. I said, a lot of people mistake me for you. And he was really, as if to say, oh, my God. and he got hysterical laughing. It was one of the famous lines that I pulled off. I used to do that to everybody. I was on an elevator with Sean Connery, and he kept looking at me. And when he got up we were in the same apartment building, and we lived on Avenue of the Stars in Los Angeles.
Right.
And just as he's getting off, I go, Mr. Connery? He said, yes. I said, a lot of people mistake me for you. And he goes, really? Oh. And that was it.
Well, there's a couple of questions of curiosity a lot of people have. First of all, how did you come up with, or what happened to develop the Brillo hair pad thing?
I don't know. I think it was the first time my mother put me on the little pony in the barber shop, and he went to cut it. I said, no, don't cut it. And next thing you know, I told my mother, forget it. And I don't know, I just let it grow wild.
Why did I expect another answer? I have a clue.
Next thing I knew, and I was one of the first ones that had that afro look.
Yeah.
And everybody used to say it's the hair that makes them funny. It isn't the hair that makes me funny. It's everything about me. I think people look at me, and kids more or less relate more to the fact that I'm more like a puppet, like a funny little puppet.
Oh, like one of those little Grimly things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember those back in, 60s? Yeah, I remember those.
And that's the way they more or less see me, as a funny little puppet. And the hair worked, Then I got the idea of, I wanted to come out and say something right off the bat. So, I don't know how it happened that somebody asked me something and I couldn't remember what it was, and I looked at them and I went, hello there. What? Hello there. They didn't know why. And I noticed the audience picked up. They would start low, and then we're doing a show with Steve at the Latin Casino. He asked me something, and I blacked out.
It was a routine, right? It was a routine.
We're in the middle of a routine, and I blacked out.
He gave you the line?
Maybe I don't know what it was he said to me, and I looked at Steve, and I went, hello there. He says, what? I said, hello there. He didn't know. And the audience started laughing. And when the show was over, people start coming over. Hey, hello there. Hello there. And I says, you wait all your life to find a catchphrase like Joe Penner.
A hook, yeah.
You want to buy a duck or whatever. Yeah. And that's how that happened. It's all spontaneous.
And that became so famous for you and so associated with, well, the book got the title Hello Dere.
I made it the title because everybody
knew that. But So I don't think anybody can separate Hello Dere from Marty Allen.
They see Hello Dere and they know, Marty Allen.
Yeah, I think that's set in stone now. I don't think you're ever going to get away from that. Marty, we're going to have to take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsors. By the way, you can go to MartyAllenHelloDere.com. And you can get this book, and Marty will sign it for you and sign it to you. So
even if you live in Cuba, I'll fly over and sign the book. I got the new national anthem for Cuba.
What?
Row, row, row your boat.
This is Stephen Jacobs with the Jacobs Ladder Show. We'll be right back.
Okay.
And And we're back with Marty Allen. I don't know. I just figured I got to feed you a line and shut up.
You know how many people mistake me for you?
Too much. I didn't know that. I got to read something there. Marty just gave me this. This is a scoop for us. The World Almanac and Book of Facts. Okay? It's a letter to Marty. Dear Marty Allen. Mr. Allen, it is with great pleasure that I inform you that your name, birthplace, date of birth have been added to the entertainment personalities of the present section of the World Almanac. This information will appear in the 2016 edition of the book, which will be on sale December the 1st. So Marty Allen is now in the World Almanac. Unbelievable. Well, I guess it is believable.
Thank you.
Thank you for the scoop, pal.
Yeah.
I'll give you your scoop back there, and now that I've scooped it, and I appreciate it. So we left it with the birth of Hello Dere.
Yeah.
And how that happened. So you and Steve are playing now. You're on the Beatles. You're on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Not on the Beatles.
With the Beatles.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be on those guys.
It was a blockbuster show.
Yeah. Well, what a perfect show to be booked on at the time, because every teenager in the country was.
Well, when I walked out, the kids are screaming, and I'm trying to think, what could I say to get these kids? So I walked out, I went, hello there, I'm Ringo's mother. And the kids go, it's his mother, it's his mother. They didn't care one way or the other. The kids started screaming, it's his mother.
So how many times did you guys actually play Ed Sullivan?
How many Ed Sullivan shows? We did more than Ed Sullivan.
But you did more than any team or any.
Well,
right?
No, there were a couple of people that did quite a few.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys are touring all over the place then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys become international.
Yeah. We went to England. We played in a club, and he said, I'm bringing in, you're going to be the second act, but she's the headliner. It was Shirley Bassey. Oh, sensational, phenomenal singer. And that was the time. Her dearest friend was Princess Margaret. And Princess Margaret came in to see the show. Now, we're doing the Man in the Moon. And Steve's on a stepladder. I'm on a stepladder on the top.
Right.
With the helmet. And he said to me, Marty, what do you see up there? I said, a sign. He says, what does it say? Go home, Yank. Well, Princess Margaret collapsed. She got absolutely hysterical. And later when we met her, she said that broke her up like she couldn't believe. We sent her our album, and she sent us a beautiful letter from the royal family from the castle,
right,
thanking us and saying how much she enjoyed our show.
Right.
And we went to Australia and scored very heavy because Australia was terrific. The audiences were real hip, and they seemed to understand most of the humor, the American humor, and to be in Australia was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I enjoyed it so much and enjoyed the audiences.
Well, you know, the Australian audiences, there's very little slush in that. They either like you or they don't, and apparently they were in love with you guys. So.
Well, they were very kind, and they really enthusiastically enjoyed the show.
Do you have any clues to how many countries you played in over your career?
No, it's hard. All I know is my passport has all kind of names in there.
So we could go count the stuff in the passport if we really had to, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are and you guys headline back here in Las Vegas a lot.
Yeah. Then we came back here to the Sands Hotel and scored very heavily here. And it continued. And then finally it got to the point we had played everything, we had done everything, and I was getting offers to do acting and different things. And I wanted to pursue myself in my career. And Steve and I talked it over, and we parted very amicably. There was never any problems.
Right.
And he went one way, and I became a semi-regular on Hollywood Squares, and then then I did Big Valley with Barbara Stanwyck.
You brushed over that Hollywood Square thing kind of quick.
Oh, no.
Because you guys, I mean, you, as far as I'm concerned, when you were on that show with the other comics that were on the show, that had to be the sweet spot of comedy on that show.
Because they let me ad-lib my answers.
Right.
They never wrote anything down. When they'd ask you a question, like the people on the daytime serial,
right,
they had to write jokes for them or something like that. But they let me alone. Me and Rosemary and
Paul Lynn,
we were free. Charlie Weaver.
Right.
We were allowed to say whatever we felt like saying.
That was your talent. That was your guys' ability.
And I enjoyed it so much.
Now, you shot a whole week of shows in one day, right?
What they did is we did 5 in one day. You do 3, and you take a dinner break, and then you do the other 2.
Right.
And it was what we looked forward to it. I loved it. I thought it was one. I did every game show there was. I did Mike Douglas. I did Beat the Clock. I did Password.
$10,000 Pyramid.
10,000 Pyramid. You name every
game show. You did them all.
They gave me a title, Darling of Daytime Television. That was my title.
Right.
And I enjoyed it very much.
Well, how much fun would it? I'm back to Hollywood Squares, and in my imagination, I'm thinking how much fun it would be to be a comedian and then be able to spend time with the comedians that you just named off.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be a bantering love fest.
Oh yeah, you're right, Stephen. Because to me, Paul Lynn was absolutely brilliant,
and quick.
Rosemary was funny during her love life kind of thing.
Right.
And Charlie Weaver had a wonderful attitude.
Right.
So I enjoyed it so much, I couldn't wait to go on all the time.
I can imagine. I mean, and you had to think to yourself.
When someone says, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Hollywood Squares," and I'd love it. And then Password was a marvelous show. And then Mike Douglas was so warm and kind. They used me for everything. They had me dive off a high board into a pool of water with penguins. And the penguins looked at me, and I didn't know whether to say hello there or not. But they looked at me. It was funny.
You could have told them that you were often mistaken.
And I did a bit, and then I did the circus show.
Yeah.
And then Mike Douglas had me do a thing. And then they had me with an elephant, and the elephant was supposed to kneel on top of me. And I'm saying, gee, I'm really saying, what are you going to have an elephant kneel on top of me? And I said, I hope he doesn't know I'm a Democrat.
So did you make friends with the elephant?
Well, I made good friends with him.
So not only that, then you were asked to and did acting. You got into film.
They saw me do a clown pantomime, which I had written, and my composer was my conductor, Russ Curry, who has passed away, was a brilliant composer, writer. I did a part of a clown who's in a circus, and he comes out, and he has, I had the makeup on and the clown outfit, and he's looking in the mirror, and as he looks in, he sees what's happening to him, that he's getting older.
Right.
And he gets rather dejected, thinking, well, maybe it's all over, and the music plays, da-da, da-da, da-da-da, you know. Da-da, and he puts the makeup on and smiles and goes out.
Yeah.
Well, the audience, with the pantomime, they flipped out over it, and the producer of the Big Valley show seen it. He says, we have a part if you're interested, and if you'll cut your hair. I says, what is it? He says, the part of a Jonah, which is a guy who comes to the ranch, and everything, the rains come, the cattle run away, the horses,
right.
And they blame it on me. They said, it's his fault. So I went and read the part and did it. And it was masterful. I got all kind of marvelous reaction. And Barbara Stanwyck called me in and said, if you pursue acting, you'll be dynamic. And I didn't know what to say.
Well, I have actually seen that particular episode.
Yeah.
And you were terrific in it. Okay.
Thank
Tell you
you.
what we're going to do. We're going to take a break here, and we'll be right
Another
back.
commercial?
We have to.
What's our commercial?
Our commercial?
Yeah, what is it?
I'm not sure which one it is, but it's either it's probably booze.
We're going to the Spencer.
Right. Oh, okay. There you go. We'll be right back with Marty Allen after this break. We'll be right back with the Jacobs Ladder Show in two. And welcome back to the Jacobs Ladder Show. I'm here with Marty Allen, trying to keep the studio in one piece. Anyway, we left it, and you had been on. You started actually doing some acting stuff, and you'd been on Big Valley. I remember that.
Then
show.
I went and did a movie in Malta, Mr. Jericho, with Connie Stevens and a lot of marvelous actors. And that was also another piece of semi-dramatic. And I did a couple more. It was very interesting, but I didn't want to allow myself to get too involved in the acting. I wanted to stay with the comedy aspect of my life.
And is that because you enjoyed it so much, or you were comfortable in that space?
Well, I was comfortable as far as the acting,
right.
And I was thinking to myself, I could really go at it. But I enjoyed doing the comedy, and I enjoy making people laugh. And I get so much mail, and one more or less tells my thoughts. A woman wrote, she says, I'm an invalid, and I'm sitting by the television, and I'm watching, and you're on, and I start to laugh, and it makes my whole day. Well, that to me gets me so much emotionally. I say that's what it's all about.
Well, you also done some USO stuff with the troops as well.
Yeah.
And I know that having been a troop, that when you show up, it really does great for morale.
Well, I'm as far as being a great American, not that I'm a great American, but being part of America is emotionally. When I see the flag or I hear the national anthem, I start to cry.
I'm with you, pal.
Yeah, and I'm a big football fan. So Sunday, when they have about 5 games, I'm crying every hour because the moment they show the flag or they have somebody singing and the guys are marching, I get up, I'm sitting in the chair, and I'm crying. And then when the game starts, you hear language you'll never hear again as I try to boost my team to victory. Go Steelers!
The other thing I think is the attraction is there's live audiences are also. There's nothing like working in front of a live
there's
audience.
nothing like it. And to have somebody come and say, you made my day, or I enjoyed so much. I get that kind, and now I'm getting mail from overseas, which is Stephen. I got 5 letters the last 2 weeks from China.
Wow.
They're showing the old shows, you know.
Oh, really?
And I got Spain, China, so many countries, and you can't believe what I'm so busy sending photo. Could I please have a photo? And I always, you know, when they ask for it, I send it out, and I'm very big at the post office. They say, "Here he comes again," and I said, "Don't bend the envelope. There's a photo in it."
Another generation is
Yeah.
discovering you all over again
Yeah.
through your body of work that's out there.
Yeah, I get that kind of mail.
Right.
I didn't know who you were, and then somebody said, "Have you ever seen Marty Allen in action?" And they evidently showed Hollywood Squares and the acting and I get mail like unbelievable.
If you just, I want everybody to know that there is no way in this short time that we can begin to touch on Marty Allen's career, and I'm so happy he wrote this book, Marty Allen, Hello Dere. And I will tell you, as you and I have known each other for a while now, we've talked numerous times on and off the air, and we're friends, and we thank you and Karen Kate for that. But after you got this book out and I read this book, I thought I knew an awful lot about your career and what you'd done in our conversations. This is amazing. The number of people that you actually knew, got to work with, were friends with.
The many incidents, Stephen, with Richard Burton and Liz Taylor, with Barbara Stanwyck, with Ernie Borgnine, with Elvis, with the Beatles. I mean, the famous author Sidney Sheldon, you know.
And by the way, and I never really knew this. I knew that you knew Sidney Sheldon, but I had no idea how good of friends you guys were.
Yeah.
The other thing that most people don't know about you, that you are and always have been a voracious reader.
Yeah.
You've had, according to the book, you've had guys open bookstores up in the middle of the night so you could get some more.
Yeah, I did. I love reading, and like late at night, I can sit down and read a book and absorb it. And there are many wonderful authors, but Sidney Sheldon caught my eye. Also, Harold Robbins was a famous friend of mine.
Oh, really? You didn't meet him?
Harold and I
love
were
his
very
work.
close.
Very good.
In fact, I was at a cocktail party with Harold Robbins, and how the thing with Sidney Sheldon happened is I went to the bookstore and I said, "I'm going on a tour. You have anything I can read?" They said, "Well, Sidney Sheldon has a book, The Other Side of Midnight." I said, "Who's Sidney Sheldon?" They said, "He's the producer of I Dream of Jeannie."
Right.
So I said, "All right, I'll take the book." Well, I read it in one night, and I couldn't believe it. So when I would go in a town,
Right.
and they'd have me on the air and they'd interview, "You're quite a reader. What are you reading?" I said, "Sidney Sheldon has a phenomenal book. You should read it. You can't believe it. It's one of the most fascinating books." And I proceeded. Sidney Sheldon goes on tour, and he's on the radio show. And they said, "Well, we know all about your book." And he says, "How would you know about my book?" Well, Marty Allen came in and he talked about it, and he said it was unbelievable. He says, "Marty Allen, the comedian, the guy with the crazy hair?" "Yeah." "What would he?" They proceeded to tell him what I did. Well, he couldn't believe it. By the time he got off the tour, his book hit the New York Times. I'm at a cocktail party at Harold Robbins' home, and Sidney Sheldon's there, and I walk over. I says, "Excuse me, Mr. Sheldon, I just want to tell you how much I enjoyed." He says, "How much you enjoyed it? You went on on a tour and promoted it. And that's how it all began. Next thing I know, became very close friends. And when Karen and I got married, he and his wife threw the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
At their home in Beverly Hills.
And that's in the book. And by the way, if you ever watch I Dream of Jeannie, I think the Dick Van Dyke Show, any of these great television shows from the 60s and 70s.
Talking about, Steve, not to interrupt you, but reminded me, I told you that my commanding officer was John Toland,
right?
Toland.
Right.
Do you know who John Toland? He won the award for his books about the war, and he became a famous author.
Oh, yes, I know who you're talking about. That was your CO, huh?
He was my CO. And after the war, he wrote, and all his books became big
bestsellers,
number one seller. And I think he got the Nobel Peace Prize for it. One of them.
As far as knowing people, you've led a charmed life, haven't you? I mean, you.
Yeah, authors and girl singers.
Now, speaking of girl singers, I want to briefly touch on a girl singer that you were particularly impressed with. And how you met her one time going to lunch.
Ella Fitzgerald?
No.
Oh, yeah.
You went to lunch, and
I went to lunch at a famous restaurant
in L.A.
And the hostess was this beautiful girl, and I see her. I went in with my agent, who had an office next door, and she says, "Oh, Mr. Allen, we're very happy to have you. Is there something I can get you in particular?" I said, "Yeah, a fruit salad of some sort." And she gave me the menu, and I wrote on the menu, "I love the way you're walking in that dress. I'd rather have that than the fruit salad." And she picked it up. She got hysterical laughing, and it was Karen Blackwell.
Right.
And the reason she was a hostess, she didn't want to go on the road anymore alone. She had played many clubs, but she didn't like the idea of being alone on the road. And the owner of the restaurant was a dear friend, and he told her, "Well, while you're home writing music and everything, why don't you become the hostess?" She said, "I never did anything like it." He says, "You'll be very good at it," and she was. And when I wrote that on the menu, next thing I know, I came in again and again, and I asked her out. We started dating, and I went to her house, and I saw this piano. So I didn't know if it was an ornament or whether she wrote. She said she writes. So she sat down and sang and played. I said, "Well, what are you doing here as a hostess?" She said, "I didn't like to be on the road alone." So I said, "Well, I'm going to Pittsburgh, my hometown, to appear at a local place called the Holiday House, a very famous nightclub restaurant. And I want you to come with me." And I took her. And in the middle of my act, I said, "I have a special gift. I want you to hear something." I brought her up. She sang 2 or 3 songs. They gave her a standing ovation, and the write-up was about her. And I sent her the write-up, and that's how it all began.
Now, then you married her.
Yeah, then I took her to Sydney's house for dinner, and everybody was there, all kind of celebrities and so forth. And I told her, Sydney, her name, and he wrote a book in which the heroine was Karen Blackwell.
Wow.
And next thing I know, out of friendship and love, he said, "We're throwing a wedding." Well, everybody was there and all the comedians, Buddy Hackett, Jack Carter, you name it, they were all there.
You got a lot of pictures in this book
Yeah.
of that wedding.
I think we have about 200 photos in the book.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
And that's how.
Right.
And now Karen and I have been married 31 years. And
well, you know, it's interestingly enough, just as a little sidebar here, when they closed, just before they closed the Riviera this last year, and everybody was kind of showing up in the room to sing one more song, to play one more.
Oh, she got up with George Bugatti.
Well, I want to tell you, but prior to that, though, we sat there, and there was all kinds of singers, and everybody was there, and not to take away from them, but you and Karen Kate were gonna leave, and they said, wait, Karen Kate, come up and see, please sing a song. Karen Kate absolutely ramped that performance that all night up about 12 notches. She was going to sing one song. They wouldn't let her leave till she sang another one. She was more powerful than anybody that had been there had been singing that night before her, as far as really just out and out fabulous, high energy showmanship.
Yeah.
It was a terrific night.
It was George Bugatti, the singers, last night there.
Right.
And she writes, she wrote our wedding song,
Amazing.
It's in her CD.
Marty Allen, HelloDere.com. That's the title of the book, Marty Allen, HelloDere.com. And if you go on and you buy the book and make the request, Marty will will make a personal autograph to you about it with your name.
It's a wonderful book, Stephen.
Well, I tell you what, the wonderful thing about the book is, Marty, is that the book is written by you without a ghostwriter or anything else. And I know you. And I know that this hasn't been edited. It hasn't been done. This is just your life story.
It's my life story.
You telling it without anybody messing with it.
My telling it, and I wrote it just that way.
And it's a terrific book.
Thank you.
Terrific book.
Thank you.
And it'd make a super Christmas present, saying that we're sitting here a couple of weeks before Christmas. So I'd go online and take a Marty Allen, HelloDere.com, and buy several. He'll autograph all of them for you. So tell me, and as usual with you, we're always running out of time.
The movie studio will buy it, but I don't know who would play me.
I can't think of anybody.
I always think of that time when I was in the hotel and I'm on the elevator and the woman sees me and she looks at me and she says, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. I saw your movie, Last of the Secret Agents, with Steve Rossi. I saw you on Big Valley with Barbara Stein. I saw you on Hollywood Squares. I can't remember your name." And I said, "Brad Pitt." She said, "No, that's not the name."
Well, and here is this portion of what we're going to do here in the few minutes that we've got left with you. I could do a whole day with you, obviously, but you're still performing today.
Oh yeah.
You and Karen Kate have an act.
Yeah, we have a wonderful act, and we've included photos on the screen of some of the anecdotes. And then we recently played the Rampart Casino, and it came off very well.
We were there. It was terrific.
And we're going to Dallas, play a theater. We're also going to be, I think, in Florida. I don't know. Karen says, "Get dressed."
Get dressed. We're going, right?
Yeah, we're going. Put on your tux.
So, and there is one question, and normally I never ask this of a guest, but I know that there's some curiosity here. How are you going to be at your next birthday?
How old?
Yeah.
94.
94.
Yeah. March. You want to buy me a gift?
Well, not only that, but I also want to strike a deal. As I told you before we came in, I want to book you for your 100th birthday.
Oh, that'd be, Yeah, that'll be terrific.
Again, thank you, Marty Allen, so much for being on the show.
Stephen.
I can't
It was
tell
a
you
wonderful,
how much I appreciate
wonderful interview.
it. And remember, Marty Allen, HelloDere.com. You get this book, buy several. Marty will actually sign it to whomever you want and get it off to you.
It's a great gift.
Great gift,
for the
whether it's
holidays.
Christmas or even beyond that. It's a great gift. Again, thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
This is Stephen Jacobs with the Jacobs Ladder Show. We're here every Tuesday from 1 to 3, one guest for 1 hour. Miss Carolyn and I take our 10 each with each one of them. This show, along with all of our shows, will be up at JacobsLadderShow.com archives in about 24 hours, okay? Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.